Yellowstone's high levels of CO2 prompting fears of violent activity for an eruption. High concentration of CO2 levels at Yellowstone prompting fears of such an event. Using satellite imagery to show that large levels of carbon dioxide are being emitted from Yellowstone volcano. Volcanoes are more likely to emit larger levels of CO2 in the lead up to an eruption, as is typically a sign that pressure is building beneath the surface. And this is what we see now with the La Palmas volcano eruption. The geologists and volcanologists are measuring the levels of CO2 coming out, and they're saying that if it wanes down to 1,000 cubic meters a day, then that means it's waning. Well, it's not there. It's about 13,000, so it's not waning. La Palmas is still erupting. So volcanoes are more likely to emit larger levels of CO2 leading up to an eruption. That's a sign that pressure is still building under the surface of the volcano. And cutting-edge satellite imagery reveals the levels of carbon dioxide at Yellowstone volcano is among the most concentrated in the world. That's how they found that there is a huge reservoir under the magma chamber of Yellowstone. Yellowstone on a normal day emits 45,000 cubic tons of carbon dioxide every single day, which is normal for Yellowstone. Now, as the narrator says in the videos, let us know that we're probably getting some kind of leak from one of those fault zones in the area. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Nowhere else on the planet are we seeing that level of concentration of carbon dioxide, but as we said, it's a normal day for Yellowstone, which is one of the supervolcanoes of the world, and it has very active geyser activity and hydrothermal activity. 60% of all the world's geysers are in Yellowstone, and over 10,000 hydrothermal areas. That's how they found that the magma reservoir under the chamber is leading all the way down to the border of US and Mexico. Also, there's been a spate of seismic activity in Wyoming with small tremors. Now, the massive volcano erupted with a lava eruption 70,000 years ago, 80 eruptions since then. It's had 3 major super eruptions in the past 2 million years, 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 630,000 years ago were there super eruptions. But recent seismic activity spikes around the world has resulted in devastating earthquakes all around the world. Now, if the volcanoes were to erupt, if this volcano was to erupt, of course, with a super eruption, it would cause global catastrophe, particularly first in the United States, where 2/3 of the country would become immediately uninhabitable, as a large spew of ash into the atmosphere would block out sunlight and directly affect life beneath it. Also, U.S. agricultural industry would be in ruins, as much of the country would be covered in at least 10 centimeters of a layer of ash showering the ground, making it impossible for crops to grow in the immediate to short-term aftermath of a super eruption. Additionally, the thick cloud of ash in the sky would contribute to rapid climate change, where the majority of the planet, of course, will be cooler as the sun's rays were blocked out. Now, fears Yellowstone could violently erupt have been exacerbated after parts of a river near it began to boil at the end of a couple of years ago. Geologists believe that a new volcanic vent had opened up underneath it. One local resident told the news source that he said, "I live here all of my life. I've never seen this, the boiling river." It was pretty impressive. The river right there as a really dark green, with a polarized filter in it, really popped out the bubbles like jets in a jacuzzi. Of course, because there's magma underneath. So this is Unbended Reality. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.